Hi, everyone. How are you? Welcome to day 48 of my viral wisdom. I'm so happy to be here with you. Sign in, tell me where you're from. We'll just wait for people to join in. Let me say hi to Instagram. Hi, everyone. Welcome to day 48. I can't believe it's already been 48 days of doing this. I'm so happy that you're joining me. Tell me where you're joining me from. Um, I'd love to know. Hi, guys. Hi, Frazine, Reina, Thompson, Alexander from Croatia. Hi, Instagram. How are you? Happy to be here. Well, today I am in a pretty perturbed state of affairs, and I want to just talk about it. But it may activate people because it's an activating topic, and it may disturb people and poke people. It's not my intention. It's never my intention to poke anyone. I just do it quite organically and seamlessly by breathing. But today's, I have to preface, so if you're not in the mood to be poked, I have warned you. Do not be upset. Oh, I came to Dr. Shefali for some happiness and some sprinkling of optimism, and she was in a bad mood. Yes, I'm in a little bit of a bad mood. But the reason I am needs to be spoken about, and I'll try to be equanimous as I do so. Um, so I'll start with my country in quotes, India. When the COVID broke out in India, so did a lot of Muslim, Hindu bigotry, finger pointing, and blame, much akin to when our dear President of the United States decided to call the virus a Chinese virus. There was bigotry against the Chinese. Similarly, in my country, there is bigotry right now of blaming Muslims because the Hindus, of which I technically am a Hindu, but I don't subscribe to any religion, the Hindus want India to be a purely Hindu nation. So, of course, why not capitalize on the COVID situation and call it a Muslim problem? So that's what's been going on quite gorgeously and rampantly and unabashedly in my country. Okay, my as in quotes. So now that I've put my country down, please don't write to me and say, well, I should go back to my country because of what I'm about to say about the country I currently live in, America. So in America, there have been a spate of atrocious, abysmal racism towards Black people, Black men in particular. Black men are not safe. If you are a Black mother of a Black son, you know this more than anybody. You cannot ignore the issue. There is rampant bigotry and bias against people who will look like your son because he looks like other people who they're bigoted against. So off late, there's been a spate. Ahmed Arbery, a young man jogging through a neighborhood, gets killed, not stopped, killed. Another black man with four white police officers killed for no reason, killed. And then this white woman in Central Park in New York City calls the police saying that an African American man is attacking her. So this has perturbed me because it shows me the disease that exists beneath the racism. You see, racism or any ism or any separation is the observable behavior. But if we really want to understand what's going on, we have to go to the core disease. And the disease is one disease, a disease of separation, a delusion that occurs because of separation. You think you are greater than or lesser than, right? The separation only occurs out of two places, sorry, itchy scalp. And the delusion is of superiority or inferiority, right? But even calling it superiority or inferiority is a delusion, and I'll tell you why. So the term that people use is white supremacy. You know, it's because of white supremacy. Well, it's not because of white supremacy, because there is no such thing as anyone being supreme. So the only thing it is a delusion of supremacy. Just like when we feel insecure, when we feel lesser than, it's not because we are lesser than, it's because we are deluded. It's a mental disease, it's an illness. So the delusion of insecurity and superiority are both delusions, right? So white supremacy is a wrong term. It's the delusion of white supremacy, right? It's a delusion to think you're supreme over someone else, right? You can be more athletic, you can be taller, you can be have a longer nose. Sure, there's always a comparison, but to believe that you are supreme comes from a delusion. And white supremacy covers a delusion. It's a mental disease, just like the Hindus in my country, India, are against the Muslims and think the Muslims are the cause of the corona in India, the spread of corona in India. Delusion, delusion, delusion. It comes from delusion of separation. When I believe I am separate because I've lost touch with my interconnectedness with the cosmos, and when that happens, we enter ego, and when we enter ego, we enter separation. You and I do this in parenting. You and I do this with our sisters and our brothers in at the gym. Women do it to each other the most. Women do it to each other the most. We're always competing and pitting against each other instead of rising in unity. We're competing and comparing. Oh, she has a pretty nose. I want that nose. Why the F do you want that nose? That's her nose, right? Why do you, she has long lashes. Why do you have to get long lashes? Why can't you have short lashes? Ah, because we have a delusion of wanting to be better than. So racism is the disease, but the real disease is that there is a deep insecurity, right? It comes from fear. At the bottom of our delusions is fear. It's always fear. Fear that I'm not good enough. So if white supremacists are feeling superior and we know it's a delusion, we have to ask, what is underneath this delusion of supremacy? Oh, it's a fear. Fear of what? What could they be afraid of? Hmm. Well, obviously, they're afraid of Black people. Why? Why are we afraid of anyone else ultimately? Is because we somewhere think that they could be better than us. So actually, it's a mask for our deep inferiority, right? Inferiority. We are in fear, creating an insecurity, inferiority of this other race. Well, why would we be scared if there's no threat? Right? So we're scared because somewhere deep down in a subliminal subconscious, we feel they will overpower, right? I know in India, the Hindus feel that the Muslims will overpower and take over, and that's not okay, right? So, in a weird way, we are saying that the other is superior, right? Whenever we are against someone, the only reason we're against someone is because somewhere we feel the other has power, right? This is so in one-on-one relationships. Why do we feel lesser than? Why do we put another person down? Why do we bully another? It's because we are filled with a deep inferiority, insecurity toward the other. That means some of the other actually holds power. But because we live in a whiteified patriarchy, which rules, we never get to the bottom of it. That the white supremacist needs to ask, actually, I'm a white inferiorist. I'm actually so filled with fear. I'm actually insecure. I'm I'm mentally diseased. Help me. Right? The bully never says that. The bully never says that because the bully thinks because he's bigger and he has a gun or he has money that he is actually right. He's not right. He has a false power. You and I know this, right? That the bully has a false power. Bully doesn't have a real power. So it is what we're seeing against Black people. The fact that they are constantly being maligned actually means that there's something to be afraid of. Why are you afraid if there's nothing to be afraid of? Ah, you're afraid because there is a power there, right? And we must squash it. We must squash it because we know when you mix white paint with any color, it's not white anymore, if you know what I mean. So the Hindus are scared that India will not be a Hindu nation. It will not be pure. So let's get rid of the Muslims, right? So to speak. And here, it will not be a white nation. It won't be a white nation. Mix it with a little color. You don't have white anymore. And they're afraid of extinction at a very gross, primal, biological, primitive level. right? And then you have a president who not only fans the flames, right, and fans it, right, calling it Chinese and black and disabled and making fun of our disabled people. We don't only have a president who fans the flames, he lights the match, right? He says that the neo-Nazis are good people. They're good people. They're good people. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but I'm just saying they're mentally ill people, right? Mentally ill doesn't mean they're bad or good. They're just diseased. And until we understand the affliction, but the affliction, I always say, comes back to us. We can only change it when we understand our own affliction. You and I are the same in a very small way. And until we own up to our own mental disease, until I look in the mirror and I go, how am I biased? How am I bigoted? How am I racist? Right? I grew up in a country that is more colorist than even America. Okay. In my country, there are there are matrimonial columns till today which ask for only light-skinned people. Only light-skinned people apply, please, for the job of being my son's bride. Okay, it's hilarious. It's just it's so delusional. It's I can't even. So we are living with this delusion here too, though. And I call us in America more because we're technically more educated, more affluent, right? There's more onus, more responsibility here. We are quote unquote the leaders of the free world. So I call America more because if we can change, the rest of the world can follow, right? Because the rest of the world is following us for everything else, fast food and Pepsi Cola, right? So we can if we change, we can create a ripple effect. So I'm not putting one country down and another country, so people will feel poked and feel nationalist. This is about a deeper mental illness that we need to talk about. And COVID is showing this even more clearly, right? That we have deep problems here. The real infection is the mental disease of separation. The real contagion, the real disease is the disease of racism, colorism, sexism, ageism that we have in this country and the globe. It's a global affliction, right? The Chinese against the blacks against the Puerto Ricans against the white. It doesn't matter. It's pick, take your pick. But here in America, the symbol of it is the black man, and we cannot forget it. We cannot act that the black man is not vilified and brutally targeted, right? And we need to stand up with our black mothers, the mothers of those black sons, and understand what they're going through. Because as a mother, I cannot even imagine having a black son out there. I cannot even imagine. So who needs to stand up for her? Who needs to? All women of all color need to stand up. Post in your Facebook, I stand with you, Ahmed Arbery's mother. I stand with you, whoever else's mother, right? The other man who was just killed. I stand with you. It doesn't matter if you're white, if you're black. We all need to speak up. This is not a black person. This is not only for the Martin Luther Kings and the other civil rights leaders to stand up in the Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela's, because they're black. No, in fact, the onus is on the rest of us who are not black, right? Because we are privileged. We gain from privilege. We need to stand up, and of course especially the white person, right? But it's not just her or him, it's a global pandemic. The real pandemic is the disease of othering, of separation. It comes out in isms, all the isms, racism being the most toxic because America was founded on it. But all isms are a disease of mental delusion. We are mentally diseased. I mean, really, the matrix is diseased. And I say this with compassion because I'm part of the matrix and I understand. We were conditioned, we were indoctrinated, we have no choice. We have to understand the world is whiteified and the world is patriarchal. And after that, the babies are going to be sick because it's already sick on top. And if it's sick on top, and if the culture is toxic, on top, how can the trickle down effect not be the same? We have all been raised in a whiteified patriarchal culture, right? Not to call out the old white man, but you know, he's just the symbol. But your uncle who's old and white, I mean, I love him. Okay, you know what I mean? It's a symbol, but it's the truth. What to do? It is what it is. But until we understand that from there stems capitalism, ageism, sexism, racism, until we don't see where it's coming from, we cannot attack it. We cannot treat it, right? Where is the virus? Where is it hitting us? What are the pre-existing conditions? We have to understand the pre-existing condition. The pre-existing condition starts with a whiteified patriarchy, which is hierarchical, bigoted, and capitalistic, right? And in that 1% lies the rest of the 99% of the problems. And until we all rise up to fight it, but then we cannot participate in. To fight it means we have to own our participation in the whiteification and the patriarchy. If we don't own it, right, that Indian mother who's dark skinned Indian woman asking for a fair and lovely bride for her son has now participated in the whiteification and the patriarchy of this globe, right? We are all participating, right? When you and I don't celebrate ourselves for who it is we are, we participate, we co participate in sexism, in ageism. Who is the most ageist? Women. We don't like our own aging. Who? Not the men so much. Screw them. It's we women are the most ageist. Because when we see the white hair, we're like, oh my God, where's the color? Right? Have I got white hair today? I saw, I checked, right? Have they been coming out? And when they come out, I'm going to be nervous. Why? Because I'm a secret ageist. But I'm coming out of the closet. I'm telling you because I want us all to own how we co-participate, right? How we are part of this, right? When we women compete against each other, we are anti-feminist. When we secretly want to look better, why do we wear our high heels? Not for the men. The men don't see. We do it to look better than the other women, our sisters. We are anti-feminist. We just have to call ourselves what we are. Me too. 100% I want to look better. Terrible. We are against our sisters. We should be celebrating our sisters, right? So this is how we participate and do not realize, because we don't go to the core of our own disease. And the disease at the core is our own antagonism against our nature. It's really we wake up every day antagonistic. And the greatest antagonism is against ourselves. Every day we wake up feeling lesser than, wanting to be more than, wanting to claim more, wanting to acquire more, wanting to be more. It's like we're never good enough. Who we are is never good enough. It starts from there, right? If the white supremacists, the ones who call themselves white supremacists, woke up and they were okay with who it is they are, they'll be okay with other people being who it is they are. It's because they're not okay with who it is they are that they are at unrest, they are fomenting inside, right? And they're bubbling out, right? First, be okay with who you are. And that's why I say, be selfish in your self love. Take it, own it, claim it. Because until you fully adore yourself, you will inflict the affliction of hatred onto others. What you are toward yourself will steam out like steam into others without you even saying a word. It'll come from your nostrils, from your gaze. And that's why I say self acceptance and self love is the cure. Because when you're fully reverential of your autonomy, when you understand your imperfections, when you have compassion for yourself, when you say, you know what, yeah, yeah, I have white hair, yeah, I have wrinkles, yeah, I'm fat as f, yeah, I have cellulite, you know what, I'm okay with my imperfections. Now the minute you own and claim and you're genuinely okay, you will immediately have eyes that see only okayness in the world. The reason we see evil out there is because we are not okay with our evil inside. The greatest, the greatest homophobes are those who haven't resolved their own sexuality. Because when you have resolved your own sexuality, you have no issue with other people expressing their sexuality their way as long as they do not oppress others. It all stems from your own radical self acceptance. It's not piecemeal and it's not your mouthpiece. It's true self acceptance. And when you honor yourself and when you give yourself the freedom to be you, that is so vastly, inimitably valuable to you. When you fully are free, you will bestow freedom to everyone around you. The problem is we're not free. We're totally not free. We live enslaved. And because we are enslaved, we want to enslave others. In my culture, I must liberally put my culture down too. Why only put America? So in my culture, the prototypical evil person is the mother-in-law. Okay? In all the movies, like the stepmother, the mother-in-law in India is like the evil one. So in all the movies, she's portrayed as evil. But guess what happens to every daughter-in-law who then becomes a mother-in-law? She becomes that woman. It continues. She's like, because you know why? Because the daughter in law is like, damn it, I'm enslaved. When it's my turn, I will enslave you. And this is what happens to our children, right? We take away their freedom, we stampede on their rights. That's how they grow up to be an abusive parent. This is how. It follows what you yourself experienced. And because we are not yet, we don't want others to be yet. It's quid pro quo. How you are with yourself is how you are with others. Simple. When we understand that, when our child is then enraged, right? We as parents understand, oh, they're actually enraged towards themselves. When my daughter is rude to me, she's not rude to me. Nobody can be rude to me because I am my own being. When she's rude to me, I say with compassion, oh, she's confused. She's really rude to herself. Wow, she's so effed up inside herself. So when I look at a white supremacist, or I look at Trump himself, this is hard for me to say, but I do have compassion. It's hard, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. But I know. My higher self knows, not my lower self. My higher self knows I have to have compassion. Doesn't mean I don't want to freaking, but I have compassion. I have compassion because I know actually the wise self in me, which rarely exists when I look at Trump, but when she shows up, I know actually he's really, really diseased. It's all diseased. It's disease talking. Oh, disease is talking. It's not our president talking. It's the disease talking. Disease, 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 disease. Ah, okay. And then I have compassion, little, but I have it. Um, and this is how we have to understand it. Because if we don't understand it this way, then this is what happens, right? So when we don't understand it, we then lash out, right? Like I want to lash out every single day. I want to lash out. But that doesn't solve the problem because when you lash out you are in the same energy of the thing that made you want to lash out. Now you are actually aggrandizing the negative energy, right? So every time I am outraged by Trump, every second, if I feed it, I will then aggrandize him. But if I call it what it is, just with neutrality, because really compassion is so difficult, but just with neutrality, and I go, it's a disease, it's a disease, it's a disease, it's a disease, then I can take action to eradicate the disease. How can I eradicate the disease? This is darkness, this is shadow, this is negativity, this is purgatory. How can I shed light? I say in jest, yes, don't come attacking me. Okay, the way to now take action, oh, I have to shed light. I have to spread light. How can I spread light? Open my mouth, take my clicker, my mouse, and start expressing myself or start posting light, light, light. Raise awareness. It's not the black person's onus to freaking raise awareness. It's our onus, the ones who are not being targeted, the ones who are lesser targeted, who need to raise awareness. We need to fight shadow with light, right? I say this with children. If they're in a bad mood, please don't add to the bad mood. If they're being nasty and antagonistic to you, do not be nasty and antagonistic back because now you are not creating the antidote. You have aggrandized the problem. Similarly, here, what is the problem? What is the disease? The disease is the disease of separation. How can I attack this? I can attack and treat this by creating the antidote of unification. So I need to unify with that, with whom, that upon whom they are antagonistic. Do you understand? Which means, so in the case of Black people being mowed down, I need to stand with my Black mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers, no matter the color of my skin, and I need to unify. So we unify against the disease of separation. You understand? We have to fight through unification. Post Ahmed Arbery's picture, post something about your light, and we need to join together, right? We cannot fight the patriarchy, we women, by keeping on complaining about the men, because we've done that, been there, done that. Doesn't change diddly squat. You know how we fight the patriarchy? By not competing against each other, by unifying and saying, you know what, we refuse to be who you want us to be. We just refuse to be silent. We refuse to be nice. We refuse to not be angry. We refuse to not express ourselves. And we uphold our sisters in doing that. Yes, this is how you fight. You fight the good fight. You don't fight the idiotic fight by entering the same energy that the person who created the fight has. Then you're just amplifying his energy. As much as we want to, we cannot. We have to fight the good fight. When Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high, that's what she meant. Do not go low. Because now you are joining in the tunnel, and now in the abyss, there are more people. And the universe can't tell what's the difference in the good people in the tunnel, or in the abyss, or the bad people. Right? The universe doesn't look for good and bad. The universe looks for energetic shifts. So we need to shift our energy, right? So the onus is on all of us. If we're talking about racism, which I am right now because I'm perturbed about that, what does that mean? We first need to own our own racism. First, we need to look at ourselves and the isms within us. We need to see how we are amplifying it simply by being quiet, by being apathetic, by saying, oh, it's not me. My son is Chinese, not for me. My son is Indian, not for me. No, it is everybody's problem. Okay, one Black sun gets mowed down, it is all our problems. We have to all stand up. If our climate is changing, it's all our problem, because Mother Earth is suffering. So this is how you fight the good fight. Yes, we have to energetically shift. So when you hear these things in the news, right, you have power. You're posting recipes, you're posting your eyelashes, you're posting your cute cleavage. No, now also do that, have fun. Also post about the malaise, post about the disease, not by attacking anyone. Don't even look at the perpetrator. The perpetrator is not our problem. We have to rise by creating the antidote, by shedding light, right? By shedding light and by spreading our unification. That I stand with you, I stand with you, I stand with you, right? Call it by creating the antidote, not attack it. You can't attack it with the same energy, right? There's this famous saying, you can, the same problem that created it cannot solve it. You know what I mean? Something like that. So this is how we rise up, and this is how we change the paradigm, by speaking our truth, by speaking in love, by speaking in unification, and understanding the disease that exists in ourselves, and eliminating it within our own hearts, and then allowing that to radiate out. When you eliminate the disease in your own heart, you cannot be quiet. You cannot be quiet. So today I posted something which guaranteed will get people upset with me. It's on my Facebook page. You can look at it. I don't care, because I'm writing it from light. But if the light is too bright, it will poke people, because people are like, "Oh, that hurts." Too much light hurts people. I understand. It's okay. So this is how we have to spread light. Yes, we have to see the disease, call it what it is, and then go for the antidote. And the antidote always will be unification, but ending separation in our own minds, buying less. Don't feed the capitalistic white patriarchy anymore. Don't fight against each other as women or brothers anymore. Stand up for the downtrodden. Stand up for those who cannot speak for themselves. They cannot. And each one of us who has been privileged by this whiteified patriarchy, can I tell you something? Honestly, this is something very honest, okay? I don't even know whether I should say it, but now I'm on a roll. I'm going to say it, I'm going to run. I have light eyes, right? I have benefited from this freaking whiteified patriarchy. I have so benefited. And I could cry because it's not fair. And when my daughter had brown eyes, I literally had to teach her her brown eyes are beautiful. I mean, I could cry. And I had to tell her that you look at me and culture will say that these eyes are beautiful, but I'm telling you, it's not correct. Your eyes are beautiful. My eyes are beautiful, but your eyes are beautiful. And I'm telling you this because culture will not tell you this. Culture will say, oh, look at your mother's pretty eyes. And they will not tell you. And then you will feel lesser than. And I'm telling you, it's a setup. Don't fall into it. I began telling her at a young age, I love chocolate eyes. I love chocolate. I love chocolate eyes. I wish I had chocolate eyes, but I didn't want to put myself down either. So it was tricky and it was fucked up. But I had to do this because I knew this is a whiteified culture that will set my daughter up to feel lesser than because she doesn't have her mother's eyes and it's screwed up when it doesn't have to be. So I had to do all this, but we have to do all this because we see the disease. We see it, we preempt it, and we create the antidote. So we don't let the darker skin of us feel lesser than anymore. We don't covet being, in my culture, fair and lovely. We don't covet it. We don't buy into it. We don't bleach our skin. We honor who it is we are. Wide, thick, small, skinny, flat, bulby, bludgy, but whatever. We honor. And that's how we let go of the hold that the whiteified patriarchal culture has set up. We're all suffering from it, white, black, yellow, green, all suffering from it. And we need to topple it through only our own emancipation, our own inner emancipation. This is how we need to shift the world by seeing the disease. Don't pretend our culture has been healed. America is not healed. America hasn't even begun to be healed. The slavery continues in the prison system. It's the same thing. Oh, how do I get rid of them? Put them into prison. Three strikes, you're out. I mean, I could go on and on. Watch the 13th, the documentary called 13, the most beautiful documentary by Ava, I've forgotten her last name, but amazing. So this is how you shed the light. This is how you turn the paradigm by emancipating yourself from your own mental diseases. I will see you all when I see you all. My courses are 50% off till the end of this month. Then they're done. If you want to grab a course, they're with you, for you, for a lifetime. Bye, everyone. I will see you soon.